Hey my friends, this is Daniel Aldie, and today I want to talk with you about 7 networking tips that can absolutely change your life. Now, when I first started networking, I could barely introduce myself to other people. But I've come so far and I've been able to speak to audiences of thousands and thousands of people at a time. So I really believe in these 7 tips that I'm about to give you, so make sure you listen up. So the real question is, why is networking important? Well, networking positions you to make a connection with someone else. A lot of times people think that networking is an event. They think that when they go to a conference or when they go to a meeting, that that's what networking is. But networking is a connection you make with other people. Networking is a feeling that you get from interacting with other people and exchanging ideas and other information. Now, networking can be done anywhere. At the gym, at the supermarket, with your neighbors. Anywhere you go, you can network, but you gotta be strategic. Take a moment and make a list of the top 3 places that you spend the most time at. This is important because if you're trying to build a network, you have to really figure out where you're putting your time. Once you make a list of these top 3 places, make sure you write down the hours in which you spend the most time at these locations. Let's say you're a family-oriented professional, but you have a pretty good job. And this job requires you to be there 50 hours a week at the minimum. Now, you have another place that you like to be at, which is the gym, and you spend 10 hours a week there. And then you have another place that you like to be at, which is called church, and you put about 5 hours there total. That's a total of 65 hours in which you can make better relationships and build connections with other people around you. But the real question is, do you make the most of these opportunities? Let me give you 7 tips in which you can do so right now. Listen up. The first tip is to acknowledge everyone you meet. Look, it's not going to be easy, but you have to put your attention on other people besides yourself. Because if you're only thinking about yourself, you're not going to get far. The number one question everyone is asking is, what's in it for me? Look, if everyone is asking that question, you need to understand that you have to reverse engineer that question and ask, what can I do for these people? Because if they're only looking out for themselves, you can serve them and add value to their life, which will make you a more effective networker. Let's say you go out for dinner one night and you meet a restaurant owner named Lucy. Now, Lucy knows how to run her business. She cooks good food, she offers good service, but you're a graphic designer and you know that she needs help with her menus. So you decide to help her and you acknowledge her. You realize that she's offering good food and she's providing good service. And so you thank her for this and you give her a nice little handshake. Now, as you're talking with her, your graphic design skills come into play. You're looking at the menu and you say, you know what, Lucy? I can help you with this, and I'll be happy to do it at no charge. Of course, she's going to be like, hold on, there's a catch here. But if you continue to show her that you'll provide value for free and create those menus for her, she's going to trust you, especially when you show it to her in front of her face. What I'm saying is that no matter where you go, you can make yourself available by acknowledging other people and realizing that you have something to offer them of value. Another thing about acknowledging people is that you have to be kind with everyone you meet. You see, kindness is the oil that takes the friction out of life. And if you're kind, you never know how people are going to help you in the end. Whenever you go out, think about the places you go and ask yourself, how can I be more kind to the people that I meet? If you do this, you'll find out that you'll be able to get to anywhere you want to go, and people will give you a much better time everywhere you visit. The second tip is to use other people's names. You have to understand that the sweetest sound that anyone has ever heard is the sound of their name. There's a lot of networking events where people wear name tags. And if you see their name tags, you could just say their name and introduce yourself. It's such an easy way to network with other people. Or even when you're in retail environments and you see people's name tags, you could just say, hey Billy, how you doing? You having a good day? Not only can you cheer up that other person, but they may be able to help you in a way where you least expect it. People will always be impressed if you know exactly what their name is, especially if they have a difficult name, but you know how to pronounce it. I'll give you a personal example. A lot of times when I meet people and I tell them, hey, my name is Daniel, and then 10 minutes later they say, hey David, what do you think about this? I realized that they weren't listening, that didn't have the time or energy to remember what my name was. Now I can understand that David is close to Daniel, but that doesn't mean that they should butcher my name by using someone else's. In order to never make mistakes like this, make sure you use something called mnemonics. Now, mnemonics is an easy way to remember someone's name. For instance, when I introduce myself to other people, I like to say, Daniel like the lion's den, Aldie like your best friend. And people always remember that, especially when I tell them that we don't take the main street, we take the alleyway. So not only do you want to remember other people's names, but you want other people to remember your name as well. It's vitally important when it comes to networking. The third networking tip is to introduce yourself. This is incredibly easy, and a lot of people make the mistake of not even introducing themselves to the person that they're meeting. For instance, if I'm at a restaurant and I see some really cool looking people, I'm gonna ask them, how are those onion rings? Or how's the bread? Or how's that drink? And I'll start a conversation this way and then eventually stick my hand out and shake their hands and have a little conversation. Another key element to introducing yourself is to make direct eye contact. When you look people in the eye, they feel confident about who you are and also about who they are. They feel like there's a connection, there's this sort of intimacy that they can relate to. When you do this, you look good and you also help the other person feel good as well. Remember, everywhere you go, you can start a conversation. For instance, if you go to a gas station, you can compliment someone's car. Hey, nice car. Where'd you get it from? What do you do? Oh, wow. And then you can take that conversation wherever direction you want it to. Or let's say, for instance, you're at a restaurant and you see someone ordering something that looks spectacular, maybe a big dessert, and you ask them, how is that dessert? And then you start a conversation. Or for instance, you're shopping at the mall and you try a hat on and you ask somebody next to you, how's this hat look? All of a sudden, you not only look good, but you make that other person feel more interested in you. To summarize this point, let me just make it very clear that all I want you to do is that whenever you go out there, introduce yourself to as many people as you meet. The key to networking is to get your face out there, and the more people you meet and the more hands you shake, the more success you will have in your life. The fourth networking tip is to make a connection. I'm not only talking about a casual conversation, but I'm talking about the things necessary to take it to the next level. A good example of this is to share contact information, is to have your business card ready. For instance, in the back of my phone, what you'll see is I have business cards ready to be pulled out. It's kind of like a weapon that I use to help formulate better relationships. Another advanced strategy is to add people on social networks. So for instance, when I go out, I'll say, hey, add me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to have you as a connection. Or even I'll take their business card and make sure I add them as soon as I go home. It works every time, especially if they're a professional. Now, some advanced strategies that I might use is to give people my books. Now, some of you guys may not have books, but whatever you have, maybe you have artwork or maybe you have something of value that you can give to other people that is free for them that they can find useful in their life. Another simple thing that anyone can do to make a connection is to write a thank you card and mail it to them or even give it to them directly. Every time I check my mailbox and I open up a thank you card and I see what the person has said, especially in handwritten format, I love it and I feel for this person and I want to connect with them no matter who they are or where they're from. Remember that when you're making a connection, give before you take. You don't always know the people that you're meeting and many of them are strangers, so you want to make sure that you build a connection that makes them think that you have something to offer and you're not just there for a freebie. Because I'm reaching millions of people on social media, a lot of people ask me questions. They'll ask me things like, oh, Daniel, can you send me your books for free? It won't cost you that much anyways, right? Or, Daniel, can you write me a testimonial? I know you never see my work, but having a testimonial from you will really help me start my business in a big way. Or, Daniel, can you give me a loan of $5 million so I can grow my business at the highest level? But every time I see this request, it doesn't make any sense. Why would I do it without an adequate motive? Whenever you're reaching out to people, make sure you make a good connection and try to add value first before you take value. That's how you network. The fifth tip to networking is to dress well. Now, this is highly underrated and I see a lot of people making mistakes. So many mistakes that I can't even mention it on this one video. Whenever you go out, keep in mind that there's 3 kinds of outfits you should wear. Casual, business professional, and professional. Let me explain. Make sure that you dress appropriately for all the events that you attend. So say for instance you're going to a business meeting and everyone's wearing suit and ties and everyone's professional, but you show up with sweatpants and a t-shirt like you're going to the gym. That's never gonna work. What you want to do is to match how exactly you think that other people will dress and maybe even dress a little bit higher than they are. Now, if you're running errands like picking up the dry cleaners or washing your car or going to get groceries, you don't have to dress all up because it's not a formal event. You want to make sure that you dress comfortably so you can do the job that you need to do for that specific time. Whenever you're looking into your closet, try to figure out what fits your style the most. I believe that everyone has to reinvent themselves every 2 to 3 years. Now, because we're all different, we have to look at our wardrobe and ask ourselves, what do we actually wear and what actually looks good whenever we go out and meet other people? One last thing about dressing well is you want to make sure that you have the right accessories, the right jewelry, the right hats, the right glasses or sunglasses, or anything else you need to complement your style. Also keep in mind that when you alter your appearance through tattoos or haircuts or piercings, It affects how people look at you. So keep in mind that if you want to be professional, make sure that you match up to the level of the professionalism that you want to meet. The sixth tip about networking is speaking well. Now, people are going to, of course, judge you based on how you dress, but the second thing they judge the most is how you speak. Remember that your language can always be improved, and there's a lot of ways that you can improve your language. The number one way I would say is to think before you speak. Before you say something, think about the consequences before you say it. A lot of times people blurt out words that are extraneous, they're useless, they have no value. And so you want to make sure that you speak less, listen more, and communicate effectively. Here's some tips I can give you. Study some vocabulary flashcards. Take about 10 of them every single day and flip through them as you study the words and try to find ways in which you can implement them in your daily conversation. Another great way to build your communication is to join Toastmasters. I remember in my first year of starting out as a professional, I gave 100 speeches in a year, and I felt so good about the progress I was making. One last tip about speaking well is to use your personality to your advantage. If you're funny, make sure you use your humor. If you're serious, make sure you keep that straight face. If you're someone that's in between, make sure that you show it at the right times, in the right places, with the right people. Whatever your personality is, make sure that you inject it in the other person and help them understand more of who you are. Be upfront and be authentic so that people can trust you and build a relationship with you in the future. The seventh and final tip is to practice your formalities. Here's what I mean. One of those formalities are facial expressions. Whenever someone's reading your face, what are they getting from you? Are they getting someone that's listening? Are they getting someone that's straying away? Are they getting someone that's actually paying attention to what they're saying? There's a lot of things you can do with your eyes and your nose and your mouth. It's all up to you to control how your face works every day. Another thing that I've worked on a lot are my handshakes. Whenever you go out, make sure you shake people's hands very firmly. You don't want to break it and you don't want to be too soft, but you want to make sure that you convey that trust and that confidence through your handshake. Another element of networking effectively are your manners. Are you eating at the right time? Are you using the bathroom at the right time? Are you standing and spacing yourself correctly so that you're giving people the amount of respect that they need in the environment? Your manners are extremely important because everyone is watching. They're watching what you say, they're watching what you do, they're watching how you act, and they're studying your demeanor. Another formality that you can work on is your body language. Where are you placing your hands or your feet? How are you moving your arms or your head? All of that matters when it comes to reading body language, not only on your side, but on the side of the person that you're trying to build trust with. Another fun thing to do is to always smile, because smiling increases your face value. And the final formality is conversations. A lot of people think that conversations should just flow, and it's true. But do you have jokes that you can use, or stories, or examples, or facts? Anything in your conversation that can inspire, entertain, or educate will help people understand exactly what you're trying to say. My friends, I've given you 7 tips. Tell me which ones are your favorite in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure you share it with your friends, and also subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.